winter grips the Baltic like a clenched fist. In September 1941, as the last railway line is severed and smoke creeps across the gray sky, a city of nearly 3 million souls finds itself cut off from the world. Leningrad, cradle of the revolution, jewel of the North, becomes an island of frost and fire. A place where bombs fall like iron rain, where hunger becomes a daily hunter, and where bread, a thin, darkened slice, becomes more valuable than gold. This is the story of 872 days when a city refused to die. As summer 1941 unfolded, the German Wehrmacht stormed east under the banner of Operation Barbarossa. 3 massive army groups carved deep wounds into Soviet territory. Army Group North, led by Field Marshal Wilhelm von Leip, carved its path toward Leningrad, the ideological heart of the Soviet Union. For Hitler, Leningrad was not simply a strategic target. It was a symbol of Bolshevism, a city he wanted wiped from the map. He declared that once encircled, the city would not be taken, but starved. The Führer is determined to raze Leningrad to the ground, read a German directive. No surrender would be accepted, no mercy offered. Through July and August, the German armies advanced relentlessly. To the north, Finnish forces pushed toward the old pre-war borders. By early September, the encirclement was nearly complete. Railway stations fell one by one, highways collapsed into enemy hands, and columns of refugees fled back into the city only to find the gates behind them sealed. On September 8, 1941, Shlisselburg, the last land connection, was captured. With that, the noose tightened. Leningrad was encircled. No way in, no way out. Inside the city were 2.5 to 3 million people, civilians, workers, children, soldiers, and hundreds of thousands of refugees. They looked to the horizon, seeing smoke rising from the outskirts, and realized they were alone. From the moment the encirclement was complete, bombardment became a daily ritual. The Germans unleashed artillery and aerial raids, targeting food depots, water plants, and factories. One catastrophic strike destroyed the bidet of food warehouses. Precious stores burned for hours, the sky glowing with the flames of lost grain. Yet the people worked on. Factories that once built tractors now hammered out tank hulls and shells. Women, elderly men, even teenagers labored at furnaces and machine tools. They slept beside their stations, ate beside them, and sometimes died beside them. Electricity faltered as coal supplies dwindled. Streetlights went dark. Water stopped running in pipes. The Neva River froze, turning into both a barrier and a lifeline. Still, the people refused to abandon the city. Museums hid their treasures behind thick walls. The Hermitage removed paintings from their frames, leaving empty, gilded rectangles hanging like ghosts on the walls. Libraries allowed citizens to borrow books for warmth and for hope. Pages read by dim candlelight as winter crept in. And in the endless night of blackout curtains and cracking ice, Leningrad braced for the worst hunger the modern world had ever seen. By November 1941, food rationing reached its most desperate point. Civilians received 125 grams of bread per day, less than a slice. And even this was adulterated with sawdust, bran, and ground cellulose to stretch the shrinking supplies. People began to die in their apartments, in trams, in queues, in the snow-covered streets. There were days when hundreds froze where they fell. Starvation followed a merciless pattern. First, fatigue, then swelling of limbs, blindness, confusion, and finally, quiet surrender. The city lost its strength, but not its dignity. Even as hunger hollowed their bodies, families shared crumbs of bread. Strangers carried the weak on makeshift sleds. The city morgue recorded thousands of deaths a day, yet the lines for bread continued, silent, unwavering. Many diaries from this period speak with heartbreaking simplicity. One entry reads, "I am hungry, I am so cold, but I must get bread. If I stay home, we die." People boiled wallpaper paste for calories. They scraped glue from furniture. Pets vanished, eaten not with cruelty, but with sorrow. In their darkest hour, the people of Leningrad discovered a terrible truth. Hunger is a slow executioner. And still, they endured. In August 1942, an extraordinary event took place, an act of cultural rebellion as powerful as any military triumph. The Leningrad Radio Orchestra, skeletal and weak, gathered to perform Shostakovich's Seventh Symphony, a piece written in honor of their suffering and courage. Musicians collapsed during rehearsals. Some had to be supported in their chairs. Others were fed warm broth so they had strength to lift their instruments. And yet, on the day of the performance, the music rose like a roar of resistance. The Red Army arranged loudspeakers along the front lines, broadcasting the symphony toward German positions. The Germans listened in stunned silence. How could a starving city, frozen, dying, produce music? It was a message. Leningrad lives. Leningrad fights. When the city was sealed, salvation seemed impossible. But as winter tightened, the Neva froze, and beyond it, Lake Ladoga, vast, cold, treacherous, became a bridge. Soviet engineers created a supply route across the ice, one of the most perilous logistical operations of the war. Trucks carried flour, ammunition, and medical supplies into the city. On return journeys, they carried children, thin, frightened, bundled in blankets, evacuated toward uncertain safety. This frozen lifeline became known as the Road of Life. But the lake was unforgiving. German artillery shelled the convoys, and bombers hunted for them from above. Drivers navigated by moonlight and memory, following faint markers while the thunder of distant explosions echoed across the ice. Sometimes the ice cracked beneath them. A truck would vanish, swallowed whole in seconds. The surface would shudder, then fall silent again. Yet the convoys kept moving, brave, relentless, night after night, because every handful of flour meant hundreds could live another day. The winter of 1941-42 was brutal, but the winter that followed, 1942 to 43, was colder still. Temperatures plunged below -30 degrees Celsius. Fuel supplies were gone. People burned furniture, books, even wooden stair railings to stay alive. Hospitals overflowed with frostbite victims. Surgeons operated in coats and gloves. There was no anesthesia, no light except oil lamps. And yet, everyday life persisted with astonishing stubbornness. Schools reopened, children wearing mittens in class, writing with frozen fingers. Bakeries mixed what little flour existed with any filler they could find. Workers still reported for duty in bombed-out factories. Everywhere, slogans reminded the city of its purpose. "We will defend Leningrad at all costs. Everything for victory." This was not blind ideology. It was survival. Relief came slowly, painfully, but unmistakably. In January 1943, after months of planning and fierce fighting, the Soviet Red Army launched Operation Iskra. It succeeded. For the first time since 1941, a narrow land corridor was opened south of Lake Ladoga. Just 10 kilometers wide, it was barely a passage, but trains could now enter the city, bringing food, weapons, and hope. The blockade was not fully lifted, but the worst was over. The city breathed, weakly but alive. Still, a full year of fighting remained. German forces clung to their positions, unwilling to relinquish their prize. Only in January 1944 did the final offensive push them back. And on January 27, 1944, the siege at last ended. The city had endured 872 days of terror, hunger, cold, and death. What followed was a wave of emotion so profound that even hardened soldiers wept in the streets. People staggered outside into the pale sunlight. Church bells chimed across the rooftops, the first time they had rung in over 2 years. A gun salute thundered across the Neva, echoing off ruined buildings. Families embraced, strangers embraced, the living embraced the memory of the dead. The worst was over. Leningrad had been saved, but at a monumental cost. The Siege of Leningrad stands as one of the most horrific events of the Second World War. It was a catastrophe measured not in battles won, but in bodies frozen, in hearts broken, in the quiet endurance of ordinary people. Historians still struggle to comprehend the sheer scale of suffering. More civilians died in Leningrad than in the bombings of London, Dresden, and Hiroshima combined. Some put the death toll at 800,000, others at 1.5 million. Each number, a life, a family, a story. And yet, the city survived. Why? Was it Soviet discipline? Was it the iron will of its leadership, determined to hold the city at all costs? Was it the stubborn pride of its citizens, factory workers, mothers, children, unwilling to let their home fall? Perhaps it was all of these. The siege revealed something profound about human nature. When people are pushed to the edge of existence, they can become either monsters or heroes. Leningrad chose heroism. They shared their last crumbs. They carried each other through snow. They fought not just with guns, but with spirit. The performance of Shostakovich's Seventh Symphony remains one of the most extraordinary acts of moral resistance in modern history. The moment a starving city stood up and declared its soul unbroken. The road of life remains one of the greatest logistical feats ever undertaken, a frozen highway built on courage. And the memories of those who lived through it remain a testament to the resilience of the human heart. Today, St. Petersburg is a city of beauty once again. Its canals shimmering beneath northern sunlight, its palaces restored, its bridges lifting gracefully over the Neva. But beneath its elegance lies a shadow, the memory of those terrible winters. At the Piskaryovskoye Memorial Cemetery, 500,000 civilians rest in long grassy mounds. An eternal flame burns in silence, flickering in the wind that once carried the sound of artillery. A granite wall bears a simple inscription: "No one is forgotten. Nothing is forgotten." The Siege of Leningrad is not just a chapter in a history book. It is a reminder of what humans can endure and what they can overcome. A city starved but never surrendered. A people broken but never defeated. And across 872 days of hunger, cold, and unimaginable loss, hope, fragile, flickering, stubborn, refused to die.